Hey there everyone, my name is Luke and welcome to my channel, and also welcome to the first ever video that I'm creating from inside this, my freshly finished observatory. Now there's going to be lots more content coming in the future on this thing, builds, walkthroughs, tours, you name it. I've got lots of good stuff on the way, but that's not what today's video is actually all about. Now something really cool landed on my doorstep today that I'm extremely excited to share with you guys. And it is this, the brand new, latest, greatest offering from Player One Astronomy, the Uranus-C camera using Sony's IMX585 sensor, which is a really fantastically spec'd sensor. I have to say, I think I'm going to love this thing, and I'm pretty darn sure that you will too. So I've managed to resist the urge to unbox this thing all day long. As you can see, it's still wrapped in the cellophane. It's been tough, but I have done it because I wanted to share this moment with all of you guys. And in a moment, let's just get to it. But before we get on with that, I'd just like to say, for anybody who's watched my videos for a while now, and for anybody maybe who's new, you might not know that I already have some experience with cameras from Player One Astronomy. I currently have these two, the Apollo M Mini and the Neptune C2, and these have been absolutely phenomenal little performers. Each one in their own right has given me personal best images of targets, which is something that's quite frankly always remarkable, never mind for cameras that are coming in at this sort of price point. It's amazing what they've been able to do, but what they have done is set the bar incredibly high for this brand new camera, but I am confident it's going to be able to meet and exceed any previous expectations that I might have had for it. Alright, so no more waiting, let's get straight into this unboxing. I can't wait to put this thing through its paces. Actually, this is going to be my main imaging camera now for the foreseeable future, really. I actually got rid of my 2600 MC Pro in favour of using things that are a little bit more affordable, such as this, for a while, and also it really helped fund my observatory. As you can imagine, building one of these things is extremely expensive. But anyway, all I've done is taken the cellophane off. I haven't yet looked inside, so this is completely fresh. As you can see, it comes in a really nice presentation box. Let's put that to one side. So the camera's there in a bag. We'll get to that last of all, I'd say, and let's see what else comes with it. So all, I guess, fairly standard stuff right now. The Player One branded ST4 cable, a dust puffer. This is a nice feature to see. As you can see, it's got a real small opening, so you get a good high pressure jet of air from that. Useful for keeping your optical surfaces nice and clean and dislodging any kind of dust that gets stuck on as you're changing cameras and filters and things like that. Here is a USB 3 cable, also with Player One branding on it. Very cool to see. A little package containing Allen keys, and that's because this camera comes with a tip tilt adjustment plate, just like the previous offerings in Player One's range. So like this Neptune C2 here as the Generation 2 tip tilt plate, I do believe in this has the same thing. But what it does have in common with the solar camera and not with the Neptune there is the fact that this one comes with an integrated heat sink built inside. So as I've just mentioned, the solar camera, these things are going to get hot. Of course, there's a lot of energy involved in solar imaging, so they come with a cold finger kind of built in, which sinks heat out to the body of the camera. The Neptune doesn't have that, but this brand new Uranus-C does. So that's going to help keep that sensor as close as possible to ambient temperatures. But I think, looking at the spec sheet of this brand new Sony sensor, that basically it doesn't really need cooling. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing performs. Now, as you can see, this is it out of the box. It's a beautiful form factor. I really do like this design from Player One Astronomy. Absolutely nothing bad to say about it whatsoever. I can imagine maybe if you're using a hyperstar system or something, the angles on the edge might create some form of diffraction, but I can't ever see it being an issue, really. I just like it. I really am a fan of this design. Now, I think what could be interesting to do is if we get the caps off all three of these, you can see the size of this sensor. I'll pull up the spec sheet in just a moment and put that on the screen for you. But basically, let's just take these off and show you the actual sensor size, because this is a good sized sensor. Oh yeah, That's really nicely sized. All right, so we just skipped on a little bit, and I've got all 3 cameras lined up here for you in kind of size order. So on the right here, the smallest sensor that I own, this is the Neptune C2. Beautiful camera. In the middle, the Apollo M Mini. That also has been absolutely fantastic. I took a personal best image of M51 with that just recently. And now the brand new Uranus-C over here, which is back to that kind of 16:9 format, which I really like standard widescreen. Makes images taken with this show up really well on things that we like to consume media on, such as computer monitors, phone screens, things like that. It always pops up really well on a 16:9 format sensor. There's no need to kind of crop it down to a publishable format if you want to share images with your friends. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. One other thing I'm just noticing here is that they've actually opted to use the larger window aperture for the Uranus over the Neptune. As you can see, it's got quite a small window aperture, still more than big enough for the size of the sensor. But I am glad they decided to upgrade for this one and go with the slightly larger one. Alright guys, so I've got the camera connected up and running. It's just taking a few dark frames here so that we can kind of check out that claim of 0 amp glow. I'm stacking up 30-second exposures at a gain of 300. I actually did check this with a 5-minute exposure just a minute ago, and I saw no evidence of amp glow, which is fantastic to know. I really hate dealing with amp glow, so seeing it kind of gone on a camera is a really positive point. However, before I get onto this too much, I'll just leave this stacking up a few more in the background. I did do a sensor analysis. I'll just kind of find that for you. IMX585 sensor analysis. Here we go. Now, on Player One's website, it says it opens up the high conversion gain mode at 180 gain. So that basically, as you can see, the read noise should take a massive dive off a cliff to a really low level around about 180 gain. And also the opposite is going to happen to your dynamic range. You're actually going to gain a bunch. So it's going to go from having 10.7 stops at gain 150 to 12.07 free stops at a gain of 180. I was wanting to check all of these out, and as you can see, it's borne out by this graph. So gain 150, it's got that 4.22 electrons of read noise, and then by gain 200, sharp gap just kind of jumps through the gain settings in increments of 50 when performing a sensor analysis, so it kind of straight away bypassed that 180. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's not important, but what is important is the fact that the read noise, as advertised, drops right down to 1.11. The dynamic range goes up to 11.83 still by gain 200, and all the rest of the kind of statistics that are claimed on the website are all borne out by my own individual testing, which is what you'd hope to see and what I completely expected that I would see. Out of all my dealings with Player One, they've been consistently fantastic. I don't have a bad word for you about them, and I really do mean that. I would tell you if there was something wrong. But anyway, one of the interesting things I noted anyway throughout this test, and of course from the statistics on the website itself, is how low that read noise goes. It goes to absolutely vanishingly low levels of 0.76 by a gain of 500, which is just phenomenal. That'll be an absolute beast to use for deep sky look imaging and the like. But here we go anyway. So we've got a 5-minute stack of 30-second frames, and as you can see, with a nice stretch applied, we've just got a really rather nice and flat looking image. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the ever so slight brightening to one side, I'm not sure. That could be light leaking in from this room. It could be thermal noise from something else, but it's really never ever going to be visible on an image, I promise you. It's not something you're going to see, especially when you start getting some light on this sensor. Anything like that, any super low level signals will be completely swamped out. So I'm happy that it is as advertised, amp glow free, and really great performance around that high conversion gain level. You could use it below that, of course, for extremely light rich environments if you needed to, but I think I'll be using it from HCG mode and onwards for most of my imaging. Now, another thing that we can test just to make sure, Player One on their website claim that this thing reaches 47 frames per second. It's a 4K camera, 47 frames per second at full file size. So as you can see, 3856 by 2180, that's 4K image. We've got it running RAW 8 mode, and we'll just turn down these frames per second. Get it down to something really low so we can explore the highest frames per second it can do. So as you can see, we're reaching 46.1.2, 46 flat, 46.2, so forth. So it's within 0.7 frames per second of the target speed, which is likely down to my PC more than the camera itself. I would say it's about 5 years old now. Bless its cotton socks, it's still doing well. But anyway, that's interesting to see. Normally, if you're doing, let's say, planetary imaging and things like that, you would crop the sensor down, so you're going to be using small portions of it. So let's take a look at a few of the frame rates there. So if we cropped down to 1024 by 768, we start all of a sudden reaching a frame rate of 269. That's blisteringly fast. If we go down to 640 by 480, then we reach 418 frames per second. That's getting on towards being pretty ridiculous now. And if you could fit a planet onto this and wanted the maximum frame rate possible, 320 by 240 in RAW 8 mode makes you reach 776 frames per second. That's utterly ridiculous. Anyway, as I mentioned, all the tests that I've made have been absolutely completely borne out by what Player One said in their own documentation, which is great news. I can't wait now for a chance to actually use this thing under some clear skies and start using it. As I mentioned, it's going to be my main imaging camera, and I'm going to be bringing you guys tons and tons of content because I think this thing is one of the most promising cameras out there for, well, any uses really, but especially at this price point. It's absolutely fantastic that they've brought this out at around $400. That's just insane. This is the sort of price where you'd be looking at a used modified DSLR, and lots of those, you know, they're great to use, but they're not going to have the sensitivity of this thing. They are going to have a bigger sensor, of course, but they're not going to have the sensitivity of it. They won't have that extended infrared sensitivity, which makes it interesting for planetary imaging, lunar imaging and things like that, and in certain cases deep sky. And certainly not going to be able to attain 770 frames per second if you wanted to do some planetary imaging or lunar imaging and things like that. So it's got a lot of things going for it, and I'm really looking forward to exploring what this thing can do. Now, as always, I think I should wrap things up there, wrap this first ever video up just by saying how grateful I am to all you guys for watching. I always mean it, I always say it, and hopefully it doesn't lose its sheen for you guys, but honestly, thank you so much for watching and for giving all of your support. And I think with that said, that's about everything that I've got for you today. I hope that you've enjoyed the video. Please do leave comments down below. Let me know what you've thought to it, what I need to change or update about my video making procedures. And hopefully I'll be able to get back to every single one of you because I do like to do that. So please subscribe if you aren't already. I'm going to be making lots more content. And until next time, look forward to seeing you. Clear skies.